March 18, 2026. Northern Virginia, CBRE publishes a market update showing that the largest data center market in the United States has only about 0.5% of its capacity sitting vacant. In a normal real estate market, that would look impossible. In data centers, it is the result of a business where the most valuable thing is not the building, the servers, or even the land. It is power. Owning a data center starts with a site that can support enormous electrical demand. A warehouse can be built almost anywhere with roads and labor. A modern data center needs transmission capacity, substations, backup generation, fiber connectivity, water or advanced cooling infrastructure, security, and a utility willing to deliver power on schedule. In 2026, JLL says speed to power has become the primary site selection criterion for the industry. That means a cheap parcel of land with no power can be worth less than an expensive parcel already connected to the grid. Then comes construction. JLL estimates the average global cost to build the shell and core of a data center at about $11.3 million per megawatt in 2026, up from $7.7 million per megawatt in 2020. That figure excludes land and active IT equipment. So a hypothetical 20 megawatt facility using that benchmark implies roughly $226 million of shell and core construction before the first tenant installs a server. AI infrastructure can push the technology fit-out much higher, with JLL noting that tenant fit-out can reach as much as $25 million per megawatt. The reason is redundancy. A normal building can survive a short power interruption. A serious data center is designed so that one failure does not shut the business down. Utility feeds are backed by switchgear, batteries, generators, cooling systems, pumps, controls, fire suppression, and multiple network paths. Every layer costs money, but every layer exists because customers are not paying for floor space. They are paying for uptime. Once the facility is built, the owner still needs customers. In a wholesale co-location model, tenants lease electrical capacity, usually measured in kilowatts or megawatts, along with secured space and access to cooling and connectivity. CBRE reported that the average asking rate for a 250 to 500 kilowatt requirement in primary North American markets reached about $196 per kilowatt per month at the end of 2025. Larger contracts are negotiated differently, but the benchmark shows why a fully leased facility can generate significant recurring revenue. Take a simplified example. If 10 megawatts of capacity were priced at $196 per kilowatt per month, the headline rent would be about $23.5 million per year before discounts, power charges, operating costs, taxes, and other contract terms. That is not a profit estimate. It is a way to see why owners are willing to spend hundreds of millions building capacity years before it opens. Demand is the attractive part of the story. At the end of 2025, vacancy across the 8 primary North American data center markets had fallen to 1.4%, even after total supply increased by 36% during the year. CBRE says users absorbed almost 2.5 gigawatts of capacity in 2025, another record. By the first quarter of 2026, Northern Virginia vacancy had fallen even further to around 0.3%. In the largest markets, much of the new space is leased before construction is finished, but high demand does not remove the risk. It changes the risk. The biggest problem is getting the facility energized. CBRE says power procurement, permitting, and zoning are delaying projects across the United States. At the end of 2025, capacity under construction actually fell for the first time since 2020, even while demand remained intense. A developer can control the building schedule and the contractor. It cannot simply manufacture a new transmission line. Electricity is also the operating heart of the business. The servers consume power, then cooling systems consume more power to remove the heat. Backup equipment must be maintained even when it is rarely used. The International Energy Agency expects data center expansion to account for about half of the growth in United States electricity demand through 2030. For an owner, that makes energy pricing, grid access, cooling efficiency, and power contracts as important as rent. Then there is technology risk. Traditional cloud facilities and new AI facilities are not identical. AI racks can require much higher power density and more advanced cooling. Turner & Townsend says traditional data center construction costs have started to stabilize, while AI-oriented facilities still have wider and less predictable cost variables. An owner who builds the wrong electrical or cooling design can end up with a facility that is technically new but commercially outdated. So what does the owner actually own? Not just a building. The owner controls a scarce combination of land,